Hey guys, so this is my Joker Part 2 trailer reaction. I just want to preface this by saying I really, really loved the first one. I just thought it was really, really well done. At a time when there was a lot of junk movies coming out, this was actually a really, really deep dive into the psychology of man, and if you haven't seen it, I really, really highly recommend it. Now, having said that, when they announced this second one, and they announced it was going to be a musical, I was taken aback. I don't know what kind of musical it's going to be. Obviously, it's going to be sort of strange and weird and Jokerish. And then when they announced that Lady Gaga was in it, I was actually super, super disappointed. Because quite frankly, I'm just not a big fan of Lady Gaga. I'm just not. I think she's very talented, but I don't like a lot of her messaging in her songs. I don't like a lot of the messaging in her live performances. I don't like that in many ways she's a carbon copy of Madonna, and if you don't believe me, look up, the comparison videos and stuff where literally she's wearing literally the exact same costumes. In fact, it was so bad that Madonna and her made fun of the fact that she's almost identical to her career on Saturday Night Live a number of years ago. And then I watched an interview with the person who discovered her, and she basically said, "We're going to change everything about you once we sign you to a record deal." And then laughed. So she's just kind of an industry pawn in my view. And again, that does not mean she's not talented, but I just never really thought she was anything special in terms of being different from what we've seen done so many times over with other people, like I said, Madonna. But having said that, I saw this trailer, and I'm going to give you the breakdown of how I felt about it as we watch it, and it may not be what you think.
You got a joke for us today?
So that was cool. So he's still, shaking, and he's still his old self, essentially. He has not healed from his wounds. It's, so already we're seeing it's an interesting situation in the sense that he's in this insane asylum, and it's not really the equivalent of a treatment center. But obviously he's a criminal, so that's what you get. So this that part there seems to imply that Harley Quinn is a psych patient or something. Maybe that's what they're doing in there. That's what it looks like to me. She certainly isn't a psychiatrist or doctor, which she was in the original story. Which again, this is a different take on the Joker story. So that's kind of interesting.
Music to make us whole, to balance the fractures within ourselves.
So we need music to make us whole, to balance the fractures within ourselves. So this is their explanation for why it's a musical.
I'm nobody. I haven't done anything with my life like you have.
So she is enamored with the Joker. She's like, oh, I'm a nobody. I haven't done anything with my life the way you have. So she's obviously enamored with him, looking up to him in a way. And what he's, I guess, in her mind and in sort of somebody with psychological issues mind is accomplishments. And once again, it appears like this, if this is the same scene, it appears as if he's sort of doing the same thing that he was doing in the first movie, the character of the Joker, where he's seeing himself on stage as he's watching stage. So he would watch, I don't want to give too much away if you haven't seen it, but he would watch, whether it was a television show that he really liked or certain other things on stage, and he would put himself, like comedians and stuff, and he would put himself on the stage in his own mind, and you had to work out as the viewer whether those things were actually happening or whether they were not, and then those fused other scenes later in the movie that made you question whether or not they were all in his head or whether they were really happening, like scenes with his mother and things of that nature. So they're continuing that process, except it appears this time, rather than him being a comedian, it's getting into the musical end of it, which is kind of interesting. Okay. So it's clear that he's having those same sort of visions. Now she's involved with them, and now it's a more musical take. I'm still worried that this is going to be a little bit problematic because musicals, for a lot of people's tastes, don't really work on film. I've seen a lot of live musicals. I saw O'Toole, I saw Phantom of the Opera a couple of times. I've even seen the opera. I've seen Handel's Messiah, things of that nature. Live theater is really, really good. Like, I love it. I love musicals in theater because there's something about the singer singing live that changes it, but when you're seeing it in a recording in a movie, it's just not the same, and you're not there in person with them. It just isn't the same, and a lot of people don't mind it, but I'm in the same boat as a lot of other people that just have that struggle with movies that are musicals. It's a little different when you're a kid and you're watching The Lion King and things of that nature because it's animated and you're a child, and I don't know, just as an adult, it just doesn't appeal to me. Now, having said that, if they do it with this sort of nuance of the visions he's having in his head and stuff, this might actually work. So that's kind of interesting in a way. Basically what I'm saying is I'm interested to see if it's going to work. I'm not just shooting it down, having seen how they're doing it. So that's an interesting scene there because at the end of the first movie, he's kind of being worshipped, right? Like all these people are imitating him and he's sort of almost being worshipped. Well, he is kind of, in a way he is, being worshipped by all of these people that have had enough of the corruption in government and the corrupt city and all the negative things around it. And he was kind of the symbol of anarchy and changing the system. And so it's interesting to see those same people that are dressed up like him chasing him down the street. So something occurs in this movie where he loses at least some of the support of those people that were super, super into him and loving him and making a martyr out of him even, and sort of making this figurehead out of him for the movement into changing the way the cities run or the countries run or whatever it is. So again, that's clearly a vision of him. He's back on the stage of the whatever show it was. I can't remember the guy's name, the talk show host that he really loved in the first one. And it's him and Gaga doing songs and everybody's cheering. So that's clearly another one of these sort of visions. So it stands to reason to me that the musical side of it is again going to be primarily in, or at least totally in, or primarily in world in his head or in her head. It'll be interesting to see how she is a part of that. And there is some nuance to that with the Harley Quinn, the classic Harley Quinn character, with the way that they feed off of each other and interact with each other. So it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate sort of the mental health side of it with her too, and because that changes. Like there is that in the classic stories, but it's not so overt, and you're certainly not seeing those kinds of visions and things to this degree. So it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate that whole thing into it and her into it. So again, how much of this is real? How much of this is fake? With them walking up the stairs, all those different things. Is she the one that helps him escape from Arkham? I would stand to reason that's probably what's going on here. So she's a psych patient, and they have the prison and then the psych area, and somehow they interact, and then yeah, that's what it looks like to me. That's probably pretty predictable that she helps him get out.
I'll tell you what's changed.
And then it looks like he gets arrested again. And then again, they're on stage again, which is, of course, is this real? Is this in their heads? I'm assuming it's in their heads.
I'll tell you what's changed. I'm not alone anymore.
Okay, so he's not alone anymore. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because that was a big thing, right? He felt very, very alone in the first one, and that was a big part of his psychological issues and arc that took place. I mean, I've been pretty critical of this idea. This might not be bad.
That's what we should be talking about.
So again, it just appears to be sort of a similar take as the first one, but with her involved now. The challenge for me, I think, is again, making the musical numbers not corny and kind of off-putting, and then at the same time having a story revolving around the Joker that isn't just a carryover of what we saw in the first one, right? The same old thing, which I think they did change, because again, we have that scene of those Joker guys chasing him. Assuming that's not just in his head, that lends credence to the idea that they are kind of taking the story in a different direction. I guess we'll see.
I want to see the real you.
And so here you go. So Harley is doing what she's done in the classic literature and comic books as well, which is encouraging him further. So rather than being the voice of reason, he finds this special person that's encouraging him to be as jokery as he needs or wants to be. It'll be interesting to see if she, towards the end of the film, has a change of heart on that, or how that impacts her character. But this is good. I mean, I like what they're doing here. I think I might be proven wrong with this one. I really thought that the idea of the musical was going to be a huge problem. I think it could be done here. And a lot of other people, and myself included to some degree, thought that like it didn't need a sequel, and it doesn't need a sequel. And I would say that there's probably almost no chance that this is going to live up to the first one. It's going to be extremely difficult. But if they can come through and make something that's decent enough to be palatable along with the first one, that would be fine. That would be good. I mean, very rarely are sequels as good or better than the originals. If it happens to be at that level or exceed it, forget about it. This will be one of the best movies of all time, because the first one was phenomenal. Low budget, did over $1 billion, is amazing. So I'm actually encouraged by this. I'm still not sold on it, but like this was a really well done trailer. They gave us just enough to make it intriguing, but they didn't give us too much. They didn't, make us feel like it was just too much musical numbers, all those things. It definitely looks like it has a huge potential to be a really good movie. Time will tell. We'll see if that happens. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Again, I'm actually encouraged by this. I was discouraged with the news of the film itself and the details that came out, but this trailer kind of has changed some of that for me. So this actually might be really, really good. And again, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I'd really love to hear. And if you do like this content, please like and subscribe. It always helps the channel. And have yourselves a really good day.